warm welcome. You're watching News9 Live with me, Neha Khanna. Joining me in the studio is my colleague Brijesh Pandey. On the show, we are going to talk about the latest political controversy that has erupted following Rahul Gandhi's visit to the United States. A fresh war of words is now brewing between Rahul Gandhi and the BJP. The former Congress president is currently on a 6-day tour of the United States. On Tuesday, while addressing the Indian diaspora, Gandhi once again trained his guns on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP-led government at the centre. Addressing an audience in San Francisco, Rahul Gandhi said, "There are people in India who think they know more than God, and Prime Minister Modi is one such specimen." Speaking at the Mohammed Ki Dukaan event organized by the Indian Overseas Congress USA, Rahul Gandhi said some people are absolutely convinced that they know everything and can explain history to historians, science to scientists and warfare to the army. But at the core of it is mediocrity. They're not ready to listen. Rahul Gandhi then went on to say, the world is too big and complicated for any person to know everything. That is the disease. There is a group of people in India who are absolutely convinced that they know everything. They think they know more than God. They think they can sit with God and explain to him what's going on. And of course, our Prime Minister is one such specimen. If you sat with Modi ji, or rather if you sat Modi ji with God, he would explain to God how the universe works, and God would get confused about what he has created. Rahul Gandhi has also accused the BJP government of misusing agencies and threatening people in India. In a scathing rebuttal, Union Minister Anurag Thakur has said the Congress leader cannot digest the praise and appreciation that the Prime Minister received during his recent foreign visits. Thakur accused the Congress leader of insulting India during his visits abroad. He said, and I quote, "During his foreign visits, Rahul Gandhi insults India, which is unacceptable. He wants to insult Prime Minister Modi, but ends up insulting India, questioning India's progress. He's trying to tarnish India at a time when the world is acknowledging our growing stature." Thakur goes on to say, Prime Minister Modi met almost 24 prime ministers and presidents of the world and held over 50 meetings during his foreign visits recently. Several world leaders say Modi is the most popular leader in the world. When the Australian Prime Minister said PM Modi is the boss, Rahul Gandhi could not digest this. Well, there have been attacks from other BJP leaders as well. BJP leader Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi has launched an attack on Rahul Gandhi, saying Jinnah spirit enters Rahul Gandhi whenever he's abroad. He added, the Congress had treated Muslims like chewing gum. Clearly, the latest verbal spat has only just begun, and we can expect a series of attacks and counterattacks in the days ahead.
They think maybe they know even more than God. They could sit down with God and have a conversation and explain to him, about what is going on. And of course, our Prime Minister is one such specimen. I think if you sat Modi ji down next to God, Modi ji would start explaining to God how the universe works. Right? Yes, and God would get confused that what have I created? So these are funny things, but really this is what is going on. We have a group of people, who understand everything. They can speak to scientists and explain science to them. They can, speak to historians and explain history to them. They can explain, warfare to the army, flying to the Air Force, whatever they want they can, And at the heart of it is mediocrity. That they actually don't understand anything. The Parliament House, these are distractions. The real issues in India are unemployment, price rise, spread of anger and hatred, a crumbling education system, price of education, price of healthcare. These are the real issues. BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing, lying down and doing all that. Some months ago, we started a walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Prior to walking, we were finding that the normal tools that we used to use for politics, conversations like this, public meetings, were simply not working anymore. All the instruments that we needed to do politics in India, they were controlled by the BJP and the RSS. You know, people are threatened, cases are put on people, agencies are used on people. So we also are finding that in some way it had become quite difficult to act politically. And that's why we decided to walk from southernmost tip of India to Srinagar. And when we started, I thought, okay, देखेंगे क्या होता है. After 5 or 6 days, we realized that actually walking 4,000 kilometers is not an easy thing. You know, and I had an old knee injury that started to act up. So I said, now I'm in real trouble because there's no choice. One has to walk, and I'm having quite a lot of pain. And then quite a surprising thing happened. I started noticing that after walking 25 kilometers is more than half a marathon. So after walking 2-3 weeks, every day 25 kilometers, I suddenly realized one afternoon that it's strange, but I'm not feeling tired at all. I get up in the morning, 6 o'clock we used to start, and we used to end walking at about 7:38 in the evening, and I was like, this is very strange. I'm not feeling tired at all. What is this? And then I started asking people around that, भाई, ये हो क्या रहा है? आपको थकान हो रही है? Everybody is saying to me, थकान तो नहीं हो रही. It's very strange. We're not feeling tired. So I started to think about it, and I realized that actually what was going on was that it was not us that was walking. It was India that was walking with us.
राहुल गांधी जी की हर विदेश यात्रा भारत का अपमान करने में कहीं पीछे नहीं रहती, और इस बार की प्रायोजित ये विदेश यात्रा भी उसी दिशा में है जहां वो अपमान तो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अंत में देश का अपमान करने से नहीं हटते। पूर्व में भी आप देखें, वो भारत को एक राष्ट्र ही नहीं मानते, वो तो राज्यों का संघ कहते हैं, और भारत के बढ़ते कदमों पर भी प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़ा करते हैं। आखिरकार राहुल गांधी जी विदेश में जाकर क्या पाना चाहते हैं? इस प्रायोजित कार्यक्रम के अंतर्गत वो क्या प्राप्त करने गए हैं? क्या देश के ऊपर कीचड़ उछालना ही उनका एक काम रह गया है? अंतर देखिए, जब जब राहुल जी बाहर गए तब तब उन्होंने देश के ऊपर प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़े किए, देशवासियों के ऊपर प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़े किए, और मैं एक तरह से कहूं, जो साख भारत की आज पूरी दुनिया भर में बढ़ रही है, उसको कहीं ना कहीं गिराने का काम लगातार राहुल गांधी जी करते हैं।
मोहब्बत की दुकान में नफरत के सामान के इंटरनेशनल ट्रेडर साहब जो हैं, वो जब जब दुनिया में भारत की धाक और मोदी जी की धमक बढ़ती है, तो इस घमंडी घराने के घोचू घरौंदे की सनक बढ़ जाती है। अब एक तरफ इस घमंडी घराने के घोचू घरौंदे की सनक, और दूसरी तरफ भारत की धाक और मोदी जी की धमक। इनको ये डाइजेस्ट नहीं होता कि कैसे दुनिया ये कह रही है कि मोदी जी ने साबित कर दिया कि डेमोक्रेसी जो है वो डिलीवर कर रही है या कर सकती है। कैसे दुनिया कह रही है कि मोदी इज बॉस। इस बात को वो हजम नहीं कर पा रहे। उनको तो लगता था कि इंदिरा इज इंडिया और इंडिया इज इंदिरा। उनको लगता है कांग्रेस इज कंट्री और कंट्री इज कांग्रेस। उनको लगता है कि डायनेस्टी इज डेमोक्रेसी और डेमोक्रेसी इज डायनेस्टी। और जब उन्हें लगता है कि अब डायनेस्टी डिमोलिश हो रही है, तो वो बताते हैं दुनिया को कि साहब डेमोक्रेसी डिमोलिश हो रही है। और जिस तरह से ये मोदी बैशिंग की इनकी सनक भारत बैशिंग की साजिश का रूप ले लेती है, विदेश में जाकर के खास तौर से दुनिया को बताएंगे कि यहां पर जो है वो डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में है, दुनिया को बताएंगे कि यहाँ पर जो है वो लोकतांत्रिक मूल्य और लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं जो है वो खतरे में हैं। अरे भाई, आप इसी देश की डेमोक्रेसी की वजह से ही, अगर डेमोक्रेसी यहाँ ना होती तो क्या कोई व्यक्ति विदेश में बैठ करके भारत को बदनाम करने की षड्यंत्र और साजिशें कर सकता था?
राहुल गांधी जी आज जिस प्रकार से मोदी जी का अपमान करते करते पावन और पवित्र सेंगोल का अपमान करते हैं, जो कि तमिल और भारतीय संस्कृति का बहुत अहम हिस्सा है, जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने मोदी जी के सेंगोल को दंडवत प्रणाम, और भारतीय संस्कृति में दंडवत प्रणाम का बहुत महत्व होता है, उसका भी मखौल उड़ाया, तो ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ लोग राम संस्कृति, भारतीय संस्कृति में नहीं, रोम संस्कृति में पले बढ़े हैं। और इसीलिए भारत के खिलाफ दुष्प्रचार और विष फैलाने का काम पहले भी उन्होंने किया है। पहले विदेशी धरती पर जाकर भारत के खिलाफ हस्तक्षेप की मांग करना, और आज अनर्गल दुष्प्रचार फैलाना भारत के खिलाफ।
All right. So, as we said, this is just the beginning of a fresh war of words between Rahul Gandhi and the BJP. All right, let's decode this with our guest. Joining me in the studio is my colleague Brijesh Pandey. Also with us, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst and a supporter of the Congress. Suresh Kochatil, political analyst and a supporter of the BJP. We'll also be joined in a moment by senior journalist Akush Srivastav. Brijesh Pandey, let me start with you. This is a movie we've all seen before. Rahul Gandhi goes abroad, delivers a lecture either at a university or while addressing the Indian diaspora, attacks the Modi-led BJP government, and the entire government comes out in full force and says Rahul Gandhi is insulting India abroad.
Well, I think, India, if you ask me, I mean, India is too big and for anybody to insult, and I would never equate any government of the day with the country. So for me, yes, Rahul Gandhi may be insulting or trying to insult or trying to make fun of the government of the day, which is, I would say, he's well within his rights as a opposition politics.
Leader.
And the government of the day is also well within his rights to criticize, to point out his shortcomings and expose him for whatever, whatever they have to say on the issue. I think both sides are perfectly well legit within their rights as political parties to criticize other person and try to make fun, take pot shots or whatever you are. There's nothing sacrosanct or sacred about that if I have a different point of view and I can't express it in America and I'm only allowed to express within the geographical boundary of this country only. I mean, it has happened before, it will happen before. The government stays, the government comes, the government go. I have till not now, and I don't think I will ever make the mistake of equating the government of the day with the country. Country is too big for anybody to be associated with, bigger than anybody.
Very interesting. Suresh Kochatil, you want to respond to that? Whether it is Anurag Thakur or any other BJP minister or leader, when they say that, Rahul Gandhi goes abroad and insults India, the counter argument that's made by many, and you heard what my colleague Brijesh just said, is that India is not one individual. India is not even its government. India is not one political party. While political parties are well within their rights to attack each other, the government can attack the opposition and the opposition can attack the government. But is it right to draw this equivalence between the government and the country, or between one individual and the country? Is the BJP taking that narrative a bit too far?
Try and mock a Muslim of the namaz he does. That's exactly what Rahul Gandhi did with the Shashtang Namaskaram. He's insulted lakhs and crores of Hindus who do this Shashtang Namaskaram every day. Okay? This gentleman doesn't understand. He doesn't even know the word for it. Actually, that's why he skipped the word. Second, he calls the Prime Minister a specimen. Imagine a guy who doesn't even hold a position goes abroad and addresses while his party president is sitting in Delhi doing nothing. This shows who's running the party. That's very clear. Anyway, let's not get into that. But Shashtang Namaskaram being insulted, that is something there. And we saw who organized it. We saw where the questions came from. Okay, we all know who organized this meeting, who organized this all, who organized the buses for it. They're all out in the open. It's very, very clear. Satyanaran Gangaram Pitroda, who is standing right behind, known as Sam Pitroda, organizes the everything. It is kind of written script that is read out. But insulting a country, you said a country is too big to be insulted. Give me one example from a developed country. Don't take Pakistan as an example, where the opposition leader goes abroad and criticizes their own prime minister or their own country or their own religion. Give me an example of it, please. That is what I'm trying to ask. What are you trying to achieve? You talk about your positives. You talk about the challenges that you have. You talk about a Dalit president whom you locked up in the toilet so that your mother could become the president of the Indian National Congress. And he says BJP is a party of the upper caste Hindus, without realizing that the Congress never had one. That's a problem. Okay, now come to the point. When Sitaram Kesri was locked up in the toilet, why didn't Rahul Gandhi react to that comment now? That is what we want to ask him. And second point, he said that BJP is an upper caste party. When Draupadi Murmu was kind of proposed as a candidate, this same party, headed by this same gentleman, opposed her. Okay, when Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam came up for a second term in office, Sonia Gandhi, his mother, opposed it. When Ramnath Kovind was proposed as a presidential candidate, again, this party opposed it. What is he talking about? He's talking about Modi advising the defense ministers, Modi advising the planning commission, Modi advising XYZ, forgetting that his own great-grandfather had given away 38,000 square kilometers to the Chinese in what is now called Aksai Chin. He doesn't even utter a word. Another thing, did you notice? He doesn't speak about Adani anymore because that has been demolished by the Supreme Court. So he's stopped. In fact, last 3 weeks, if you see, he's not even mentioned the name Adani anymore. Now he's going after new targets.
Okay.
You want to have a grouse against the Prime Minister, you take it on him directly. But he can't call a Prime Minister a specimen. Which politician would do that?
Okay.
The problem is this guy doesn't understand English. He doesn't know public speaking. He's given a piece of paper from which he reads. And like we saw in many interviews, if the questions are jumbled up, he mixes it all up. He thinks he's a big superstar. But if you ask any non-political observer, forget any Indian, ask anyone abroad about what this guy is speaking, and you will see that exactly what reaction you will get. That
Okay,
this guy
can I
is
just come in here? Can I just come in here, sir? Of course, you are well within your rights to criticize Rahul Gandhi. You know, it is your democratic right to do that. But, you know, I just want to, for the benefit of our viewers, point out the attacks and counter-attacks that are often made by the two sides. You know, you are saying Rahul Gandhi is just handed a piece of paper. He doesn't know what he's saying. He just reads from it. The Congress accuses the Prime Minister of being a teleprompter Prime Minister. These are not my words. These are words of the Congress party. One second, sir.
Prime Minister doesn't use a teleprompter, please? Can you just tell me?
So then
The US
I'm just putting, sir, please do not. I am putting out the arguments and the counter. Sir, you spoke uninterruptedly for 5 minutes. Now let me do my job as a journalist. I am just putting out the arguments and the counter arguments that are made by the two sides, and then you and Tehseen Poonawalla can slug it out, and I'll be happy to let the two of you do that. I am just pointing out certain facts. Number two, you know, you're saying he doesn't talk about Aksai Chin, but Rahul Gandhi loses no opportunity to remind the BJP and the government of what happened in Galwan, and that, you know, China continues to encroach into Indian territory, and he says that the Prime Minister and the Government of India have chosen to remain silent on it. One final point before I take this to Tehseen Poonawalla. You say that, you know, how can somebody go abroad and insult India? Sir, you know, the Congress might remind you that in the early days of his Prime Ministership, Prime Minister Modi used to regularly, while addressing the Indian diaspora, say that for years and years, Indians used to be ashamed of having been born in India under the Congress rule. Now that the BJP is in power, Indians feel proud of being Indians. So this is a matter of record. This is not something that I am making up. We've all heard those speeches of the Prime Minister that have been made abroad while addressing the Indian diaspora, not in India. The Prime Minister too, sir, has been accused repeatedly of saying such things while abroad to denigrate the Congress. Now I want to go across to Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen Poonawalla, please respond to what Suresh Kochatil is saying. Please respond to what Anurag Thakur, Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi have said. They say Rahul Gandhi goes abroad. You know, in order to target the Prime Minister and the government, he ends up insulting the country. Who addresses the Prime Minister of their country as a specimen? Who goes abroad and attacks their own Prime Minister and their religion, etc., etc.? Please respond.
Neha, thank you so much for having me on the show. And before I begin, let us do a fact check and let me correct, but I hope I'm not interrupted by the respected panelist who supports the BJP. Shri Sitaram Kesariji was not a Dalit but was an OBC. So much to coming on national TV and not knowing facts. Let's come to the substance of the issue. The substance of the issue is A. BJP says that Shri Rahul Gandhi ji is irrelevant, fair. But the entire cabinet, from Shri Anurag Thakur ji to their spokespersons, go all out, and all union ministers guns blazing after him for anything that he does. So much as he sneezes, they'll go guns blazing after him. So much for Shri Rahul Gandhi ji being irrelevant. Now let's come to what is the substance of the issue. It is not me, it is not Shri Rahul Gandhi ji, but it is the most honorable Prime Minister who said, and I quote him, that he told the Air Force chiefs and the Air Force officers before the strike at Balaport, because of the bad weather, don't worry, the clouds will hide the plane from the radar. This is the most honorable Prime Minister, and we know that cannot happen. It is the most honorable Prime Minister who said that he used a digital camera at a time digital camera was not even available. He emailed Advani ji's pictures to Advani ji at a time email was not available. So it is the Prime Minister who's come up with scientific inventions and radar theories on how to advise the Air Force. So what Shri Rahul Gandhi ji says is absolutely in fact. These are words of the Honorable Prime Minister. Now let's come to the issue at hand that we need to debate, and that's where I would like to end it. Suresh sir here, I'd like to ask him, I hope he has kids. Do his kids go out, because he was talking about religion, holding a sword to protect religion? Does Jai Shah go on the streets to protect religion? Does Shivraj Singh Chauhan's kids go on the streets to protect religion? Does Himanta Biswa Sharma's ji's kids go on the street to protect? Ask yourself, Neha, these people don't want the poor kids to learn English. Why are their kids going to the best universities in the world? Why, when these people, and may they get very long and healthy and great lives, but when the most honorable Home Minister, Shri Amit Shah ji, was unwell, he got admitted to the best hospital in Delhi, which was a scientific hospital. Why aren't their kids on the road if there is such a problem of religion being insulted? Why are their kids speaking to the topmost people in the world, including sheikhs in Dubai, in English? Why are they teaching other kids Hindi and not teaching them English and giving them the opportunities? Let me ask Suresh, you've spoken immaculate English on your show. Fabulous, sir. How many English medium schools has the government opened in Gujarat in the last 20 years? The answer is exactly as the economic knowledge of the current finance ministry. Zero English medium schools opened in Gujarat in the last 20 years. Let me ask you, sir, how many English medium schools have opened in Madhya Pradesh in the last 15 years of the BJP government? Zero. Why, sir? Why is this privilege being taken away? Why are their kids, Shivraj Singh Chauhan's kids, go abroad to study? Sir tweets about it, and he should. He should be proud that his son studies. I have nothing against his son. May God give him a lot of prosperity and good life. But why aren't their kids studying in these Hindi medium schools? Why aren't they on the streets? This is what we have to fight against, Neha. And you said India is insulted. I'll end with this, Neha. India is insulted when a very powerful member of parliament is accused under the most heinous crime, under the POXCO Act, and you have no other example in the country where a minor girl's statement under 164 is recorded, it matches the original complaint, and the Delhi police shamelessly comes out and says, we have no evidence. India is insulted when a woman who's raped and her child is smashed on the stone while she was pregnant, their rapists are released and they are called sanskari. India is insulted when you have people who are accused of murder and accused of rape are out and their BJP leaders go to their satsangs. That's when India is insulted.
Okay, point
that
taken.
Is insult for India.
Point taken. Point taken. We've heard both Suresh Kochatil and Tehseen Poonawalla. I want to play out for our viewers a few more excerpts from Rahul Gandhi's address to the Indian diaspora, where he talked about the Muslim community in India. Let's listen in.
The best way for me to explain that is the line, नफरत के बाजार में मोहब्बत की दुकान. That is the best way I can say it, which is that it is felt most strongly by the Muslim community, okay, because it is done most directly to them. But in fact, it is being done to all minorities. I can guarantee you that the same way you are feeling attacked, I can guarantee you my Sikh brothers are feeling the same thing. I can guarantee you my Christian brothers are feeling the same, and sisters are feeling the same thing, right? I can guarantee you the Dalit community is feeling the same thing, tribal community is feeling the same thing, right? In fact, anybody who is poor in India today, right, when he looks at the extreme wealth that a limited number of people have, in some way he feels the same thing that you feel, that what is going on? How is it that these 5 people have lakhs of crores and I have nothing to eat, right? So you feel it most because it is directed at you most aggressively. But it is a phenomena that is taking place against everybody in India, right? And you cannot cut hatred with hatred. It's impossible.
All right, so of course, Rahul Gandhi there first made a scathing attack on the Prime Minister and the BJP-led central government, also accusing them of misusing central agencies and threatening the people. On this occasion, he made a specific remark saying that the minorities in India, particularly the Muslims feel persecuted. We will decode that in just a moment. But Brijesh, if I could come back to you, an interesting remark made by Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, senior BJP leader, Muslim face of the party, former Union Minister for Minority Affairs, while reacting to Rahul Gandhi's statements in the US, has said this, and I'm quoting Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi: whenever Rahul Gandhi goes abroad, the spirit of Jinnah or the thinking of people like Al-Qaeda enters his body. I would suggest Rahul Gandhi should come to India, get exorcism done from a good exorcist. You know, the irony here is I'm reminded of those famous or infamous remarks of L.K. Advani, the then Deputy Prime Minister of India, one of the tallest leaders of the BJP, who during a visit to Pakistan had praised Jinnah, calling him a secular leader.
Live to regret this day.
And I'm sure he lives to regret it. But your thoughts on Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi talking about not just Jinnah, but Al-Qaeda?
I think you know, he got carried away. Other than that, I don't know what exactly he meant when he said that with Al-Qaeda. Jinnah, I can understand that, you know, he would say that the kind of comment he's making abroad is akin to, you know, breaking of the country along the religious line, you know, when you say Muslims or Christians or Dalits and all are being persecuted and they feel that they have been slighted or othered in the community. So I guess, you know, when he used the word Jinnah, he meant that. But what he meant, Al-Qaeda, I think must have beaten him. At least it beats me. And I mean, Mukhtarji is I know him very well. But you know, his love for spinning of the words is also there. You know, we have interviewed him for many years now. So, you know, that's his trademark style of giving interview. I think Al-Qaeda, he got slightly carried away. But yeah, Jinnah, why he said is the reason because he must be thinking that, you know, that Rahul Gandhi is trying to break up the country and all, when he was mentioning about the othering of other communities, especially minority community.
Right. I mean, of course, Jinnah is the Quaid-e-Azam of Pakistan, the founding father. Yeah. But, okay, let me now bring in Ankush Srivastav, senior journalist. He's also with us on the show. Ankush Srivastav, your thoughts on the political war that has erupted. Like I keep saying, this is not the first time. This is a film we've all seen before. Rahul Gandhi goes abroad, makes certain statements. The government immediately jumps in and says, you know, Rahul Gandhi is insulting India. He is attacking India. The Congress says, India is not Prime Minister Modi. India is not the BJP government. What do you make of this latest political war that is brewing? Of course, the timing of Rahul Gandhi's visit to the US is also interesting, because later this month, or rather later next month in June, Prime Minister Modi is slated to visit the US, and he is in fact going to have a state visit at the White House. What do you make of this political war?
Thank you. As far as Rahul's speech is concerned, after going रीचिंग देयर सैन फ्रांसिस्को और वहाँ जो उन्होंने शुरू किया, मैं इसको कुछ और शब्दों में कहना चाहूंगा, इसको आप समझिएगा। ये जब मैंने अभी हाल में राहुल को देखा था कि ट्रक पे जा रहे हैं, लड़कों से मिल रहे हैं, दिल्ली में चाट खा रहे हैं और अलग अलग तरीके से पानी में भीग करके भाषण दे रहे थे, दैट राहुल वाज इंटायरली डिफरेंट। लेकिन जब यहाँ आते हैं विदेश की धरती पर, सबसे पहले तो उनके ऊपर ये आरोप लगना शुरू होगा कि विदेश में फिर उन्होंने देश के नाम को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की, सरकार को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की और भारत की एक निंदा। अब क्योंकि अब वहां जो उनसे जो सवाल किए जाएंगे, तय बात है कि वो बतौर लीडर ऑफ ओपोजिशन किए जाएंगे और वो जवाब अगर उसी भाषा में देंगे, उसी तरीके से देंगे कि लोगों की हालत खराब है, तो वो उस श्रेणी में आ जाएगा कि इन्होंने फिर भारत की धरती पर निंदा का काम किया। और वो जो एक स्लोगन उनका बन गया, बहुत अच्छा सा बनाया है उन्होंने, नफरत के बाजार में मोहब्बत की दुकान का जो स्लोगन बनाया, उसको बार बार वो रिपीट करेंगे और उससे अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी को मजबूत करेंगे। यही काम जब मोदी करते हैं तो वो एक दूसरे तरीके से करते हैं, बाहर अपनी एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी मजबूत करते हैं और उसके सहारे वो यहाँ की मजबूत करते हैं। राहुल के साथ दिक्कत ये हो रही है कि वो यहाँ की कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी मजबूत करने के चक्कर में, क्योंकि विदेश में जो उनकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी है वो कहीं ना कहीं बंटवारे पे खड़ी हो जाती है और मुझे नहीं लगता कि उससे उनकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी बहुत ज्यादा मजबूत होती है। क्यों? क्योंकि उनका जो बेस है वो कंपेरेटिवली बहुत, अगर आप तुलना करेंगे, आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया की सभा की तुलना करें और यहाँ के अभी जो सैन फ्रांसिस्को में मीटिंग हो रही है, कितने लोगों की हो रही है, आप उससे देखने की कोशिश कीजिए, तो वो वहां उनका कमजोर हो। और दूसरा ये भी है कि विदेश की धरती पर जब आप करते हैं ये सब चीजें, तो वो जो लोकल आदमी है, जो लोकल इंडियन है, वो फिर कमजोर अपने आप को महसूस करता है। वो ये कहता है कि साहब, अरे हमारे यहाँ हालत इतनी बुरी है क्यों? क्योंकि जैसे कि अभी किसी ने राहुल की सभा में सवाल किया कि मुस्लिम को खतरा है, तो राहुल ने उसका जवाब सीधे सीधे नहीं दिया। राहुल ने कहा, अरे वो तो दलितों के साथ भी ऐसा है, ट्राइबल्स के साथ भी ऐसा है, हेट्रेड हेट्रेड को नहीं काटा जा सकता, वगैरह वगैरह उन्होंने कहा। लेकिन क्या वो उस बात का जवाब दे पाए? मुझे लगता है नहीं दे पाया ना। सॉरी टू से, जो बराक ओबामा, आपको याद हुआ होगा, बराक ओबामा ने भी एक किताब में उनका उल्लेख किया था कि वो राहुल कैसे हैं, क्या बात करते हैं। तो अगर वो सेंटेंस आप दिखा लेंगे या देख लेंगे, या मैं पढ़ देता हूँ, ऑन गांधी ओबामा से he has a nervous unformed quality about him, as if he were a student who'd done the coursework and was eager to impress the teacher, but deep down lacked either the aptitude or the passion to master the subject. ये अभी भी छवि उनकी जो है किसी भी सब्जेक्ट को लेकर
Okay,
के,
while
वो
quoting
शायद अभी
Barack Obama, I believe you are essentially referring to some diplomatic cables that were leaked and found their way to WikiLeaks. But मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ सर. You're a senior journalist, you're also a political observer. सवाल ये उठता है कि आपको क्या लगता है politically how does this play out? जब राहुल गांधी कुछ इस तरह का स्पीच देते हैं बाहर जाकर, और बीजेपी सरकार हमेशा ये कहती है कि राहुल प्राइम मिनिस्टर की ही तौहीन नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो हिंदुस्तान की तौहीन कर रहे हैं. Politically, how do you think that plays out? Do you believe that works to the advantage of the BJP and the Prime Minister? That's a specific question I'd want you to answer.
नहीं, बिल्कुल सही है, वो तौहीन नहीं कर रहे बल्कि मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं उसका। मजाक एक
ये
अलग
मेरे
किस्म
वर्ड्स
का,
नहीं है,
और
ये
वो
तो बीजेपी कहती है. मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये जानना चाहती हूँ कि पॉलिटिकली आपको क्या लगता है, उसका फॉल आउट क्या होता है? क्या बीजेपी का उससे एक्चुअली फायदा होता है और कांग्रेस को उसका खामियाजा भुगतना पड़ता है?
ये अगर इतिहास देखेंगे आप, तो उसका बड़ा फायदा बीजेपी ही उल्टा उठाती रही है। आप चाहे उसे जहरीला नाक कह लें, या उसके पहले उन्होंने जिस तरीके से गुजरात समय इलेक्शन के दौर में जो कहा था वो कह लें, वो सब हमेशा उनको नुकसान करता रहा है। अब कई बार ऐसा लगता है कि उनके जो एडवाइजर्स हैं वो सही राय देते हैं और वो उसको समझ लेते हैं, ठीक से कर लेते हैं, लेकिन कई बार ऐसा होता है कि उस गलती को बार बार दोहराते हैं। मुझे लगता है इस मामले में भारत को की नीतियों या भारत को लोगों को लेकर के जब आप निंदा करते हैं, तो आप गलती कर रहे होते हैं। तो उसके पहले जो आप और अच्छा काम कर चुके होते हैं,
Okay.
वो
I need to play out some more political reactions, but Brijesh, quick thoughts from you. You know, you've covered Indian politics and the BJP for a very long time. Whether Rahul Gandhi is making a speech in India or abroad, keeping that nuance aside for a moment, it has been pointed out by many political analysts that every time a personal attack has been made on Prime Minister Modi, it usually actually works fabulously to the advantage of the Prime Minister, the BJP and the government. You know, whether it has been Chaukidar Chor hai, Jibe in the past, or whatever he may be saying about the Prime Minister now, the BJP tends to turn it to its own advantage.
Well, I think, you know, I mean, there's various examples of that. And I think one of the big reasons why, Neha, it has never succeeded for Rahul Gandhi is that, you know, whenever you make those kind of slogans or those kind of jibes, which you want to, you know, stretch it for a longer duration time, there has to be a method behind madness. You know, the Chaukidar Chor narrative would have worked wonderfully if he could have come up with something very substantial and very solid, you know, as you say, you know, back the bite with the bark or bark with bite. And that would have stuck. But that didn't stuck. You know, the difference I would say is that, like, you know, when you said Soot Boot ki Sarkar, it stuck. It didn't stuck to the way the Congress would have wanted it, but it did, you know, force the BJP to recalibrate.
Seemed to completely
but
backfire.
And personal insults has never worked for the Congress party.
Yeah.
You know, there are times in life of every political party when your currency is at the top and when your currency is at the bottom. The trouble is that you know, with Rahul Gandhi is that a lack of consistency is one of the key area. You know, which has been severely found wanting. And I think Bharat Jodo Yatra was one example where Rahul Gandhi bucked the usual apprehensions which were casted about him, that he will not be able to complete it and things like that. That is where it has worked to his advantage.
And many believe that his popularity has risen since then.
Has risen. But, you know, you will also have to understand that, you know, till now there have been several attempts to reinvent Rahul Gandhi.
Yes.
You know, so I'm nobody to comment on whether his heart is in the right place or something like that.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is that, you know, the fact is that yes, there has been too many attempts to reinvent the political persona of Rahul Gandhi, and that is the reason why when he says these things, which otherwise, you know, and this also I will just take a minute of yours. This also shows the kind of credibility he enjoys in the eyes of the people, because, you know, if say Arvind Kejriwal saying the same thing is accepted or lapped up by people, but when Rahul Gandhi says the same thing, it is not accepted by the people.
Yes.
And it shows the credibility. And the reverse is also true, said that when in the state of Delhi, you know, when BJP says that, you know, Arvind Kejriwal is corrupt and all, it doesn't stick to him.
It did not work.
It doesn't work.
Because the people of Delhi have elected him repeatedly.
The political credibility is also a very, very important aspect when you make a slogan which sticks to the opposition.
Absolutely.
And when you try to take him down.
So, nobody is taking away from Rahul Gandhi his right to attack the government of the day, because he is an opposition leader in the world's largest democracy. He has the right to do that, just as the government has the right to hit back at him. But the question is it the right political strategy for Rahul Gandhi and for the Congress party? Does it really yield electoral dividends? I'll put that question to Tehseen Poonawalla in just a moment. But before that, let's play out some more reactions that have come in.
वह विदेश जाकर भारत की निंदा करते हैं और गलत तथ्यों के आधार पर निंदा करते हैं। वह ये नहीं बता रहे कि राजस्थान और छत्तीसगढ़ जहां उनकी सरकारें हैं वहां सबसे ज्यादा दलित पीड़ित हैं। ये रिकॉर्ड है कि सबसे ज्यादा अगर कहीं पे दलितों पर अत्याचार हो तो उनकी सरकार में हुए हैं। और वह कैसे बोल सकते हैं कि अगर सिखों का नरसंहार हुआ हिंदुस्तान में तो उनके राज में हुआ, जब दिल्ली के अंदर 3000 सिख उनके पिता ने मरवा दिए थे। तो उनको ये बातें कहते शोभन देता है। वह ये बताएं किस प्रकार से प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने आने के बाद 2019 में आने के बाद 5 करोड़ मुसलमान बच्चों के लिए वजीफे एलोकेट किए। सबसे पहला फैसला ये था भारत सरकार का।
देखिए, नरेंद्र मोदी तो सेवक हैं, उन्होंने हमेशा अपने आप को सेवक समझा है। ये तो राहुल गांधी और कांग्रेस के लोग हैं जिनको लगता है कि वो पैदा हुए इस देश पर राज करने के लिए। नरेंद्र मोदी सेवा करने के लिए पैदा हुए हैं और कांग्रेस के लोग राज करने के लिए पैदा हुए हैं। ये नरेंद्र मोदी थे जिन्होंने संसद भवन के दरवाजे पर साष्टांग प्रणाम कर इस सदन को प्रणाम करने का काम किया। ये नरेंद्र मोदी हैं जिन्होंने सेंगोल जो था उसके सामने दंडवत प्रणाम किया। अगर वो अपने आप को भगवान समझते या ईश्वर समझते तो क्यों दंडवत प्रणाम करते?
श्री राहुल गांधी जी ने विदेशी धरती से भारत देश का, हमारी मातृभूमि का अपमान किया है। ऐसा लगता ही नहीं है कि राहुल गांधी हमारे देश के कोई नेता हैं। ऐसा लगता है कि श्री राहुल गांधी जी भारत की दुश्मन ताकतों के नेता हैं। एक राजनीतिक दल के नेता होने के नाते से विरोध एक लोकतंत्र का हिस्सा है, लेकिन सरकार की नीतियों का विरोध आप कर सकते हो, देश का विरोध नहीं कर सकते। सरकार की नीतियों का विरोध करते करते श्री राहुल गांधी भारत देश का, हमारी मातृभूमि का अपमान कर बैठते हैं। श्री राहुल गांधी जी का व्यवहार देश के दुश्मनों जैसा है। श्री राहुल गांधी जी का व्यवहार विदेशी ताकतें जो भारत के खिलाफ षड्यंत्र कर रही हैं, उनके नेता के रूप में प्रदर्शित हो रहा है।
Okay, so political reactions are coming in thick and fast, but I want to quickly go across to Tehseen Poonawalla and Suresh Kochitil and put the same question to them. Tehseen Poonawalla, you know, I'm certainly not questioning Rahul Gandhi's right to criticize the Prime Minister or the government or the ruling party, but politically, is it really a clever strategy for Rahul Gandhi, whether he does this here in India or abroad? I'm not even talking about that, because experience tells us that every time a personal attack has been made on the Prime Minister, whether the Congress party likes it or not, the BJP has very cleverly used it to their advantage, and it has actually worked for them even in elections. It doesn't really seem to work for the Congress. As Brajesh and I have pointed out, the Chaukidar Chor Hai Jibe is perhaps a good case study.
I agree, Neha, and I concede to that point that Rajesh and you make. There's no point defending something that is right. When the Honorable Prime Minister makes comments like Jersey cow for Mrs. Gandhi, or Italian bachada for Rahul ji, or even Maut ka Saudagar, as was first used by the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, now Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, way before the Congress used it. It somehow does not stick to the Honorable Prime Minister as it seems to stick to Rahul ji or to those who attack Prime Minister Modi. So to that extent, Prime Minister Modi seems to get away at some times from it. Remember, he never got away in West Bengal when he went around doing Didi or Didi, but other places he got away, 50 crore ki girlfriend, etc. So the Prime Minister seems to escape from that. So my advice to Rahul ji has always been, and I've always told him this, and I repeat it: one, be like your grandmother. Don't even take the Honorable Prime Minister's name. Address the BJP and the government. You don't need to name him, because he's a political opponent. See, the Prime Minister does not name Rahul ji. So why should Rahul ji name the Prime Minister? It's a political advice I give Rahul ji. Speaking of political advice, I couldn't help but smile when Rajesh ji brought up the Advani Jinnah comment when Advani ji went and did sajda before Jinnah's mazar. And the advisor to Advani ji is nowadays a cheerleader for Congress. So I get very scared, because when these left loonies start giving you advice, then your downfall is imminent. So I just hope that an advisor for Advani ji does not give advice to Congress, because he suddenly become a cheerleader for Congress. So I get, that's on a fun note. And you know who I'm talking about, and Neha knows. And I hope he's kept far, far away from the Congress, because a couple of places Congress even invited him to a political rally, and I had to call up in a winning state recently. I had to call up the state president and say, "Isko, don't allow him to speak. He will take your seats down from 130 odd that you're going to get to 80. So luckily they kept him at a distance after that. So I hope this advisor's kept away. But imagine what advice he gave Advani ji. But coming to a larger and a more serious issue, look, we can bicker about what Modi ji said abroad about India, or what Prime Minister is being attacked by Rahul ji abroad. We can bicker about those things. Those are not fundamental issues. The fundamental points are what Rahul ji raised. Today, Neha, and this is where I'm going to end, and I hope I get an answer to this. The future of our country is going to be with Web 3.0, with AI. Can this government speak about it? What is our policy? How are we going to create new age jobs? How are we going to encash on new age jobs? We are gloating on Web 2.0, the revolution this man's father, Sri Rajiv Gandhi, a martyr of our country, got in. Atalji came on a bullock cart to oppose it. That is Web 2.0, and we're stuck there. What about Web 3.0? Digitization, how our future? The government has no policy on that. They don't know what is artificial intelligence. Therefore, they're wasting time in history. And I think what Rahul Ji is saying, I just end in the last 30 seconds, I think is very pertinent what he said there. That he said ultimately the problems of this country is inflation, creation of jobs. And it is these problems, and I was with Brajesh throughout the Karnataka election, that has led the Congress to success. Congress, my advice to Congress, this is where I'll end this, stick to jobs, stick to economy, stick to future. That is where you're going to win.
Okay, you may be giving sound advice. You may be giving sound advice to Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party, but we'll also have to remember that winning a state election is one thing, winning a national election is quite another. So while sticking to these people's issues, certainly yielded rich dividends for the Congress party in the state of Karnataka. But even if, Rahul Gandhi does talk about unemployment and other issues, will it work in a similar fashion in 2024? Time will tell. Suresh Kochatil, very quickly, I want to ask you the same question that I put to Tehseen, that, while the government and the Congress can go on attacking each other, I mean, it happens in a democracy, right? But many have pointed out that it's not a very clever strategy for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress, because it usually seems to backfire. Do you believe that actually it does work to the advantage of the BJP? Every time Rahul Gandhi says something that is seen as a personal attack on the Prime Minister, wherever it may be made, the BJP very cleverly spins a narrative around it. Some say, well, the BJP and the Prime Minister also cleverly play the victim card, and that helps them. It helps them in their politics, it helps them electorally. Do you agree?
Before I get into that, let me just correct Tehseen Punawala. I come from Hyderabad, where I have spoken to the best of the radar experts in DRDO and other places. I can quote Mr. Ravi Gupta of DRDO Hyderabad, who clearly said that when there is a cloud cover, the aircraft detection, there are two types of radars. One is a surveillance radar, second is a detection radar. The detection radars usually can't detect fast-moving aircraft.
Okay, sir, we should really not be talking about the Balakot airstrikes today.
Because he mentioned these points, I have to read it. Second, he said no English medium school was started in Gujarat. In the past 3 years, the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation started 21 new English medium schools, and they're proposing to start 7 more, which has actually happened. So 28. I'm not getting into long time because we don't have much time there. So Sitaram Kesri was not a Dalit. Okay? He was an OBC. And you know what the Congress mocked him? He's a Banya, they called him. They said Banya OBC. That's what the Congress called Sitaram Kesri when he objected to this. Okay, let us leave it at that. Yes, every time Rahul Gandhi opens his mouth, as they always say, Rahul Gandhi is the biggest campaigner for BJP. And every time he comes on, he wins the seats for BJP. In Karnataka, they talk such a lot of things, but everybody knows how the Karnataka election was won. It's all unraveling today. And definitely, BJP didn't lose any vote share in Karnataka. It stuck to that. Okay. And we have seen in Rajasthan, we've seen in Madhya Pradesh, we've seen in Chhattisgarh. Even if you lose the state assembly election, BJP sweeps the Lok Sabha election. Because you have Modi ji on one side and you have 10 other characters on the other side. I have a right to call it character because Rahul Gandhi wants to call the Prime Minister a specimen, then he needs to be also told in the same language. So I come back to the same thing. Every time Rahul Gandhi opens his mouth, he commits one blunder after another. He thinks that his Bharat Jodo Yatra has taken him. You look at 3 of the surveys, they're not even given him a 2% rise in his popularity. Modi ji is now way ahead of
actually, let me tell you this, sir. There are surveys that suggest that while Rahul Gandhi's popularity has gone up since Bharat Jodo Yatra, it is an undisputed fact that the Prime Minister remains the tallest and most popular leader in the country. And I have to agree with you that whatever the outcome of a state election, since 2014 we've witnessed the BJP has won one historic mandate after another. And also it's very interesting you believe that Rahul Gandhi is the best campaigner for the BJP. The BJP does seem to believe that truly. Brajesh, last word to you, which is why it suits the BJP to posit every national election as Modi versus Rahul Gandhi. It works for them. They want it to be that way.
Well, they would want to want it to be that way because the Congress is the only other national party. There is no other national party other than Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party. And for the BJP, the Prime Minister remains the best bet, and for the Congress Party, Rahul is. And whenever we have seen that whenever both of them are pitted against each other, Prime Minister has won any conquest hands down. And I think as Tehseen was saying that he was giving several advices and all. the tragedy is, and as Tehseen also very well knows, that in Congress party, you can have the best of advice or best of interest at heart. They barely listen to it. It's a debate for another day. But the fact of the matter is, yes, that the popularity of Prime Minister is there, and politically he has been far more consistent than Rahul Gandhi. It's not like. It's like when you are into a particular profession, you have to master the rudiments of that profession. Lack of speaking in Hindi or lack of speaking in such coherency which conveys, or rather you become the center of all that jibe and all, and not being able to convey your thoughts forcefully.
In politics, perception matters,
absolutely,
Brijesh. And at the end of the day, I think most people would agree that the Prime Minister, that Rahul Gandhi is perhaps still not taken seriously enough as a politician and as a political opponent to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, not by enough people to actually view him as someone who can replace the Prime Minister. But on a lighter note, Tehseen, I think Brijesh seems to be suggesting that it is time that Rahul Gandhi started listening more to people like you. Will that happen? We will have to, I guess, wait to find out. But on that note, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm completely out of time. Thank you to all our guests for joining us. For now, it's goodbye from Brijesh and me.